Good morning, YouTube. Alan from Hazel Creek Heritage Farm again. Today is going to be another busy day. I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, but we got some exciting news for the rest of you who don't. But first off, we're going to get ready to keep going on our Things of Spring episodes, where these chickens that we hatched out, they're ready to move out to their brooder box. So I got a few things to do today. I'm going to build a new water and feeder. So you guys are going to come along for the ride for that. And then once that's all done, we got that ready to go, then we'll move the chickens in. And then we will move on to showing you our exciting new surprise. So here we go. First things first, it's a beautiful day. Finally, the weather is looking like it's going to turn around. We got some pretty much fully feathered chicks in our house right now, and it's been really annoying to us. They're starting to do things of chicken, and it hasn't been that pleasant, but the weather hasn't been cooperating for us. We've had a lot of really cold, frosty nights, and this brooder box, it's not insulated. It's heated inside, but it doesn't quite reach the temperature that it's supposed to for these chicks. But they're pretty much just about all feathered out now, so I think they'll be okay. It maintains about 30 degrees in there, so I think it'll be fine, even if it freezes pretty hard at night. So we'll see how it goes anyways. But first things first, we're going to build a feeder and a waterer. Check this out. Okay, so here we go. We're going to build the feeder bucket first, and here's the parts that I usually use. I usually use the white PVC, I guess they call it, and this is ABS. Hardware store was out of the regular stuff, but this is what I got to work with, so hopefully it works the same as I usually build them. But all you need is a Sharpie, some 90-degree elbows, and I like to buy the ones without the flange on the end, and then you don't have to cut it off. You can just stick that right once you get the hole in. So you need that, and then you need just a scrap piece of 2x4, and that'll just lift up your pipe 1.5 inches off the ground of the bucket, and then the feed will be able to flow nice through there. So so that's what we need. And then you of course need a drill with any kind of drill bit. We're just going to drill a pilot hole and then use snips to cut out the hole, and then that should be all about you need. So here we go. You just stick your 1x4 out, or 2x4 down just like that, and then you just put it nice and flat against the bucket right there, and then you just hold it and then trace it. Just like that. There we go. And then I usually like to use a jigsaw or something just to cut this out, but my buddy has my jigsaw, so I'm going to improvise and just use tin snips. So I'll put this on high speed mode. I'm pretty sure you all know how to cut out a hole with snips, and I'll show you the rest of it. Just one more thing to point out, guys. I like to put 3 of these in. It just just put that in the middle of your coop, and it'll give lots of space for if you have, say, 8-10 chickens, then there's more holes that they can put their beaks in. So I have 3. One little pointer to have is these are pretty tight fitting inside these buckets. So what I usually do is I just set the first 2 on top, just kind of the flange sticking kind of flush with the outside, and then you can kind of eyeball to see where your next one's going to go. So just kind of do that, and then just kind of take your elbow and just transfer it down there, and then that's where you put your next hole. If you do them too close together, then you're going to have to really fight to twist and turn these to force them in, and you'll end up kind of caving in your bucket, and it probably won't really work that well. So that's just kind of what I figured out over the past year is just kind of eyeball it, put your elbows in on top, and you just kind of eyeball it, and you'll kind of have a rough idea where they're going to go. So here we go. Okay, so I got those all cut out, and you can probably see through the time lapse. It didn't even take me one hole, and I was sick of using that manual labor kind of tin snip stuff. I'm not a manual guy. I like power tools, so I just remembered I haven't used this for ever since I was doing carpentry work, but this multi-tool here is very, very expensive, but I've had it for about 10 years, and it is invaluable. But if you don't have this around home, I would recommend something simple like a jigsaw, or you can use tim snips, but you have to have a little more oomph than I do. So I always just think that if there's something that's easier, I'll do that. So I switched out, as you can see, and it did work pretty good. I got the holes all cut out, but we'll see if I actually know what I'm doing and all these elbows fit in the bucket. That's always the challenge. You might see me grunting and shoving, but it'll probably work out, hopefully. Just one thing to point out, guys, is it leaves a lot of burrs. So after I get this pre-fitted, I'll take a file and just file all those burrs off, just to make sure that you have no plastic inside your feeder, because you don't want the chickens to get into that. So here we go. We're gonna test out these pipes and see if they work. Uh-oh. Oh yeah. Wow, would you look at that? It worked out. So this is what it's going to look like. So you can see it's just the flange hits up against the bucket there, all the way around. And then all I'll really do is just take some food grade silicone and just silicone those in so that they're nice and secure. But they're not going anywhere anyways. I've done it without siliconing in them, and they're still going today without any problems. So that's what the inside looks like. You can see how those pipes, they kind of go off on a little bit of an angle, but the chickens can easily get their beaks in there and start feeding. And then you can see all the pipes are, I don't know if you can see that, but the pipes are 1.5 inches off the ground there. So that's gonna be another feeder that's gonna work really, really good for many, many years. So there we go. So then the nice thing about these is you can put a lid on them, and the chickens they can jump up on here, but they can't poo and stuff inside their feed. So they always have clean feed, and this feed bucket for 8 chickens will last about a couple weeks. So it just cuts down on your feeding time, and it works really, really well. So there you go on the feeder. Okay, so now we're on to waterers. These I found on Amazon, and I'll link everything in the description there. But you can get a couple kinds on Amazon, and these are by far the best ones. For one, the gasket inside seems to be a little bit better built, so they don't leak. If you buy those red ones, they will leak like a sieve, and they always fill up with water, and then they'll empty out your bucket. So these seal quite good. And the other reason why I like these is they come with a wing nut. And so you don't have to be so precise with your drill hole, because it's got a rubber gasket there, and then this wing nut goes on the inside and screws in and cinches it all up. So I will link these ones in the description, because I've used a few types, and these are by far the best ones. I don't know if you've seen my previous videos, but I was raving about them in the wintertime. They do freeze up. The cups do, the bucket doesn't. But when I get some time here after we're done and all hatching out and we have a little bit of downtime, I'm gonna make a video about what my idea is about keeping these frost free. But for now, we're building buckets, and yeah, I'll link this in the description, because I recommend them highly. They're very good. So I selected the right drill bit for the shank on here, and it turns out to be 21/64. So I don't know how precise you can be. I don't even know how to read that on a tape measure, but that just gives you the perfect amount of bite on these things, so you can actually thread them in, so they'll be still threadable, and then they'll have the wing nut on the inside, so they'll never come out or leak. So what I like to do for these is, if you can kind of see how they sit, if you put it right flat on the ground there, if you have hay or any kind of bedding in your chicken coops, that's just going to crank off, and it'll eventually bust that off. So I like to keep this up 3 inches, so you have a nice clearance underneath. And then also, the reason why I do that is, if I put a heat puck in here, anything to heat the water, then it'll never go dry. It'll only empty out to 3 inches, and then there'll always be water in the bottom, so you don't burn out your heat pucks. So yeah, so here we go. Like I said, I like to space them out about 6 to 8 inches apart, and I'll put 3 in here, so then you can put it against the wall, and then there'll be 3 drinking spots for chickens. So 3 inches up, 6 inches apart. So kind of a good way to do this is get your Sharpie again and just measure up 3 inches from the bottom, and just kind of do a line all the way along there, and make it nice and long, because if you could do the math on this, but I'm not a math guy. So 3 inches, then you got a nice line there, and then you just kind of pick a hash mark right here, so that'll be your first one. And then I'm gonna go 6 inches, so 6 inches is right at the end here, and then 6 inches here, right here. Like, this isn't piano surgery or anything, this is farming 101. So I like to be kind of a perfection kind of guy, but this stuff here, it doesn't matter what you do, the water's going to come out of it, and I don't think the chickens really care, and honestly, I don't have crazy amount of time to spend with this. So yeah, you can see the hash marks here, and so that's where I'm going to drill my holes, and then I'm just going to thread these in. It's very easy peasy. So there you go, just 21/64 with a little bit of extra boring. That'll help. Another thing to point out here is these rubber gaskets that come with these cups. You don't want to over tighten them or squish them, because they'll just stretch out and then they'll leak. So just keep them nice and snug, and just when you see them start to compress, that's when you stop. There you go. You can see how easy that is. And I'm going to go through the price points right now. If you go to PV Mart, or if in your, I don't know where you go, Tractor Supply maybe, in this, if you're watching this from the States, you can spend a lot of money on feeders and waters. And I think when we first started out getting chickens, I think I spent about 45, 50 bucks on a water. And it was just a red tray and a big reservoir of water. And what I found with those, they do work. They're all right. But what I didn't like about them is unless you put them up on a major stand, they would just get so gunked up. And I find the water gets really, really dirty because they can get their full beaks in there, they can walk in there and all that stuff. So when I first found out about this idea, I did watch a couple YouTube videos, and I just had to take their ideas and just kind of play with it and kind of do my own thing. And it's the price point on these things is not even comparable. I think I'll have to, don't quote me on the price from Amazon, but I think I paid 30 bucks for 50 of these cups, 50. And so that'll do, I don't know how many waters. And these buckets are $5.99 at the co-op. I like to use these clear, semi-clear co-op 5-gallon buckets. And they, just so you can see the water level and everything, but you find them in the paint section, and I think they're $6 each. So I don't know, you can probably do the math of dividing 3 cups by 50 and whatever that gives you for price. So I would say this probably cost me 10 bucks, maybe, if that. And this much water, that'll give 8 chickens a week of water. So it's invaluable. And then my feeder basin there, you pay about 10 bucks for all the elbows, and then 6 bucks for the bucket. So I mean, it's a very, very small price you pay for an awesome feeder and awesome water. So I'm pretty happy with what we've found here. And I've said it 10 times, and I'll say it again. I'll link these in the description because I highly, highly recommend them. Okay, now we got a water. How easy was that? Okay, so now I'll just show you exactly what I did. I know you guys were kind of far away when you're watching me put this all together. I don't have the latest and greatest video equipment, but you can see the washers right there. See that, how that washer isn't squished out? It's just sitting there, and that's what's going to make a very good seal. And you can see it on that one too. So yeah, 3 inches. You can see how far away it is from the bottom of the bucket. So that'll leave a little bit of clearance so they don't get snapped off very easily. And then, so 3 inches up, 6 inches apart. And then I'll show you, my favorite part is those washers inside. See how they screw right onto the cup, and then it just cinches it nice and tight against the bucket. So, and you can see all the plastic debris in there, and then that'll get all washed out before we put water in it. So yeah, those are some very 2 easy wheat feeders and waterers for you. It's just a cheap way to do it, and it saves you a lot of time. So there you go. Okay, so on to the next thing here. This is our very exciting news. Once again, we kind of bought these things and then aren't completely ready for them. So I got a bunch of more work to do, but Kaylee really wanted these her whole childhood. I don't know if you guys follow our Instagram, you probably all already know the exciting news, but we picked them up yesterday. We had to drive 3 hours-ish away to pick them up, and we got them in last night, and I was going to video all that stuff happening, but it was just kind of a crazy day. We were busy, so we got them in the coop, and we're going to show you here. So the first guess is that third coop there that is now occupied, so that's kind of exciting. And I got the kids' car going, so here they come. They're gonna come check it all out, and then we'll show you the exciting news. We got peacocks. Peafowl, I guess they're called. The males are called the peacock, and then the female the peahen. But look at that beautiful bird. That's gonna be very interesting to try to raise. They initially, when we brought them in, they flew up onto there, and they were there for all night and even into the morning. But I see they finally gone to the ground, so hopefully they sniff around. They need oyster shells, and they need this special grain like wild game feed, and then dog food, believe it or not. So we have all that smorgasbord in there for them, and then my famous bucket water is there. So apparently these things take a long time to get used to their new surroundings. They're very nervous, and it's just best to keep them cooped up and just let them figure life out. So, but Kaylee is extremely excited about these things, and I think they're pretty cool looking birds. So hopefully we can keep these things alive. It'll be a new experience. So there you go, guys. That's part of our new part of our family there, and hopefully we get them to do good. Kids are having a really good time on that little side-by-side thing that we bought from last year. It's pretty cool. It's got a radio, so she presses a button and the radio comes on, and they have 2 seconds of tunes there, and she keeps doing it, and it comes up with a different song. So pretty good for them. Okay, so one last thing I'm going to show you in this video. We did decide to move the chickens. I wanted to take a whole video of that, but while I was making my waterers and feeders, Kaylee kind of got excited about getting them out of the house, so she started moving them. So sorry I didn't show you that, but all we did was throw them in a bunch of cardboard boxes and pack them out here. But I'll show you what they look like in this predator-proof brooder box. There you go. We were worried about it. It's only 0 right now, so we thought these chicks would be very, very cold, but you can see they're all spread out, and it's looking really, really good. And there's a brand new water there. You can see it's not touching the floor, and they figured it out already. So this is looking really, really promising. So there they are. They're out of the house. They've flown the coop. So yeah, things are looking up. We got rid of some of our kids, and we're gonna start with the next batch of hatches and brooding in the house. So it's exciting. That's one thing done, and here is the next Things of Spring episode.